Welcome to Top Sports Talk, presented to you by Top Sports News. I am your host, Caleb Generette. Next to me is my co-host, Isaac Deer. Isaac, how are you
Okay.
today?
I'm doing really good, man. We have a ton of stuff to talk about, and um, man, I'm excited. It's the best time of year. It's postseason for all the fall sports. We got through tennis and golf, but now it's time for volleyball, football, cross country. We don't do gymnastics in this county, but gymnastics had state last week. Don't know anything about that, but good job to all the gymnasts out there. Proud of you. But I'm excited to dive into all this stuff, man. A lot has happened in the last 7 days. Actually, was it the last 6 days? Because we recorded on Monday morning
Yep.
when the sun is still down. But
Mhm.
it seems
Sun
like
is,
anyway.
sun is starting to go down again. It's just a little bit
On
of a
the
day
other,
earlier.
we're much more awake this
Yes,
time, and
yes.
but I had fun with you last episode. I'm really excited to get into it with you this episode, and yeah, we got a lot, Caleb. We got a
Mhm.
lot.
No, we got a lot. And playoff, man, playoff football, playoff volleyball. Playoffs are fun because it's just winner takes all. And
Yeah.
one and done. Anybody can win. That's you got to play the game. So looking forward to it a lot. But before we get started, as we mentioned, we have a lot. So gonna get through this quickly. Thank you to our gold sponsors, Invest Credit Union and Family Guidance Center, for continuing to sponsor Top Sports News. Also wanted to shout out the ticker. Everyone's been using it great. Really appreciate everybody using it. Really helpful tool to use on game nights. But yeah, I'll let Isaac take it away with all the other sports because we got some big time volleyball news.
Big time volleyball news, big time cross country, big time soccer, just everything. We'll start off with cross country real quick. There is so many state qualifiers this year, so I cannot go through the mile high list that we have. Sorry for mentioning Mile High, by the way. Broncos country, let's ride. The ton of cross country qualifiers. I just ruined Caleb's day. But Shawnee Heights, Washburn Rural, Hayden, Rossville, Silver Lake, Seaman, Topeka West, all sending runners. But if you want the complete list, and I highly recommend it, and individual state goers, go to topsports.news and check out Rick Pearson's cross country roundup. It's available. It should be on the first 2 pages of the website. Go down, you'll see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It's probably on page 1 or page 2, because on Sunday we have it. There's not a lot of sports to cover on Sunday, so it'll probably be right there when you see it. So, yeah, and then volleyball was a big day yesterday. Yesterday, as in Saturday. Unsurprisingly, Washburn Rural and Seaman both will be chasing that state title in their respective classes, both dominating their respective substates. And man, Washburn Rural just ran just ran through the competition yesterday. They started out playing Dodge City in the semifinal round because Washburn Rural had that first round bye. Dodge City was in a play-in game with Wichita North. They played Dodge City in 2 sets, 25-6 in both of them. 25-6, outscored 50-12. Easy money for the Lady Blues once again. Brooklyn DeLay, Jada Ingram, Taylor Russell, Layla Collins. The whole group's just stacked. Zoe Canfield, forgot about her. KU basketball commit.
Mm.
It's just insane. Watching Brooklyn DeLay hit volleyballs is like the best hobby you can possibly have because she's one of the greatest athletes I've ever seen in my entire life. And that's not even, I mean, she's just incredible. That whole team is just absurd with talent and power and strength. And the chemistry is there, that core group, top notch. I mean, that core group of Brooklyn DeLay and Jada Ingram and Zoe Canfield, Taylor Russell, all of them. It translates to all the sports too, because usually you have that same core group that is in the starting lineup, or they're all just every year just hungry for the gold and going to get a state title. That's just the goal. And Kevin Borderwick's such a good coach, calm demeanor, just such a great leader. Got career win 1,000 not too long ago. Kevin Borderwick would be one coach that would, I mean, if he would be a coach I would love to play for. He's just very real with his team and very calm and but he demands a lot. So I mean, That's the thing. He demands a lot, and he also never takes any credit for himself whatsoever. If you tell him he's doing a good job, he's like, no, it's not me. It's, he'll never take credit for anything. That's just how selfless of a man he is. But yeah, so after that Dodge City whooping, they would go play Manhattan in the championship match, 25-12, 25-11 over Manhattan, who they would play them for a fourth time in that sub-state championship. So they knew each other really well. Borderwick told me afterwards they knew what they were going to do, and they tried to take away their weaknesses and all that other stuff. But yeah, so Rural will be the number 1 seed in the Class 6A state tournament this upcoming weekend at the Tony's Pizza Event Center in Salina, which starts on Friday. They will open up their play against number 8 Blue Valley West at 9:30 in the morning. And they'll also match up against Blue Valley High, the number 5 seed, at 11:30 a.m. That's the first day of pool play. If they advance, they will play on Saturday for the state championship. And then in 5A news, Seaman also kicked butt on Saturday. Their sub-state slate, they dominated 25-8, 25-16 victory over DeSoto in the semifinal. And they beat Schlegel 25-9, 25-6. So they will be the number 6 seed in the 5A tournament, which is also at the Tony's Pizza Event Center in Salina. Starts on Friday as well. They will play later in the day, by the way. 6A plays in the morning till early afternoon, and then 5A will play early afternoon into, I think the latest, or the last match starting at the end of the day for 5A is at 8:30 at night. So it'll be a all-day affair. If you like volleyball in any way, shape, or form, go check out the state tournament. Seaman will play May South at 3:30, and they'll also play Lansing at 7:30. But yeah, Rossville fell short. Rossville and Silver Lake were short at the 3A sub-state tournament in Silver Lake on Saturday. Rossville played the championship game and fell. But great seasons by both those schools as well. And but so yeah, that's that for volleyball. And then we have some soccer. A lot of soccer news actually this week. The regular season is through. Now we have regional soccer games. We have some really terrific matchups in the city this week. We can start off with 6A. Number 2 Washburn Rural. They will host the play-in winner of Lawrence High and Wichita South on Tuesday at 6 p.m. at Washburn Rural High School. And also in 6A, that's that West Regional number 3 for Topeka High. They will host Lawrence Free State on Tuesday at 6 p.m. at Hummer Sports Park. So there'll be a lot of good soccer in the city this week. And in the 5A, you have the East Regional number 4. Shawnee Heights will host KC Washington at Bettis Family Sports Complex. That will be at Tuesday at 6 o'clock. And then the East Regional number 1, Highland Park, will hit the road to take on Lansing on Tuesday night. And Seaman in that same regional will play Leavenworth, their UKC rival, in a play-in game on Monday night. And the winner of that game will play number 1 Sumner on Tuesday at Sumner. And then in 4A, we have the West Regional number 1, where Topeka Hayden will host Mulvane on Monday evening at 4 p.m. And Care Paravel will also host Circle High at the Sunflower Soccer Complex Monday at 4:30 for a play-in game. The number 1, or whoever wins that play-in game, will play number 1 Beeler. Just a long drive from here. It'll be on Tuesday at Beeler High School. So that is some of the news from soccer, from volleyball, and cross country. Go check out that cross country list on our website, though, by the way. There's a lot of names to get through. And I'm not saying we're on a time limit, but probably take me 3 hours to get through. So,
Right.
So bear with me on that. But yeah, that's a lot of successful accolades, individual accolades, and team accolades, and state tournaments this next week, this Saturday, in Salina. It'll just be in Salina for Seaman and Washburn Rural, but soccer regionals are here. I'm so excited to check out some good soccer this week. I am pumped because there are so many soccer home games, so many home football games, the other football, the footballs. There's a lot of home football games on either side, the one where you kick it and the one where you throw it. So let's do this, man. I'm pumped. I'm ready for
No,
this.
playoff football is here. Oh my gosh, I love playoff football because it's just so much more important. But before we get to that, we'll do a quick rundown of some big games last week. Shawnee Heights lost a close one to Leavenworth, 24-19. Washburn Rural put on a showcase against T West, winning 81-12. Silver Lake had a battle with Atchison County. It was a very close game for most of the game. Ended up winning 41-30. And then Rossville had a big time momentum booster as they needed going into the playoffs, 50-6 win over Moore Hill. But yeah, right into the playoffs. I have spent hours looking at these brackets. I love it. I love filling out brackets with every possible scenario, just what can happen. I'll probably fill out my official bracket. I don't know if I'll put that out publicly because I don't want to get embarrassed if I'm wrong, but I'm definitely filling one out in all the classes tonight. But starting in 2A is where we have our first games. Silver Lake, they have a tough matchup round one. And that's how these 2A, you see in 6A and 5A playoffs, everyone makes it and they seed them top versus bottom. And that's why you see these struggling, these younger teams in making the playoffs. In 2A, 3A, 2A, 3A, 4A, I believe, there's districts and only the top three or top four, depending on your classification, make it. So there's tough matchups in these first rounds. And Silver Lake definitely has a tough matchup against Riley County. They played earlier this year, and Silver Lake did pull out the win 28-21, but it's one of the toughest first match opponents you'll find. And then they won't have it any easier, even if they win, with a winner of Sabetha and Atchison County, who they just played really close last week, is who they would have in the second round. So,
Yeah, it's always tough playing those teams that you're super familiar with too. Like they know you really well, you know them really well, so that makes it trickier when they try to pull out stuff that you've never seen before. Like Riley County's going to try stuff that Silver Lake hasn't seen on tape, and vice versa. But yeah, Riley County, historically great team. Kansas, one of those legendary schools that just love to win. Um, they haven't had the year that Riley County usually has, but it's playoff time. Everybody's 0-0. Records are dead at this point. All the records, everybody's just flat 0-0. And no, I guarantee no coach in any locker room in the state right now is saying, well, we finished, 4-4, or we finished 3-5. Now I think that's all over now, and I think that's the mindset that you have to have if you're going to win this game. So I think Riley County can put up a fight. And that season opener where Silver Lake did play Riley County, it was a really close game, 28-21. So that'll be a fun matchup because those teams that are super familiar with each other are always put up a great fight in the playoffs. Like last year, Silver Lake played Rossville, winner goes to state championship, and that was a really really fun game. And Silver Lake and Rossville know each other, but um, yeah, that Riley County Silver Lake game, that's one that I'm definitely going to keep my eyes on. Not sure where I'm quite going yet next week, but that would definitely be a fun one to go see.
yeah. And then moving on to, as we mentioned, a team that they're very familiar with, Rossville, who has had a lot of success in playoffs recently. Doesn't have it any easier than Silver Lake does. Minneapolis is who they play. They're a talented team. It's definitely winnable for Rossville. But once you get to the playoffs, as Isaac mentioned, it's 0-0 and every game's winnable. So win or go home. I'm excited to see what happens. But with a win, they will most likely play 2A powerhouse Nemaha Central in the second round. So that would definitely be a tough matchup. But you never know with Rossville. Rossville has won so many state championships. They have that experience. So looking forward to see what Rossville can do this weekend.
Yeah, and shout out to Coach Derek Thomas, the Rossville head coach for career win number 100 the other day. I know it's a big deal, especially this year, getting those wins come by a little harder than Rossville usually earns those wins. But great work. Derek Thomas is a legendary coach, legend for the game, great guy. Players want to play for him. I know that the program of Rossville means a lot to Coach Thomas. So that was cool for him to get win 100 the other day. But yeah, Minneapolis, we mentioned before we went live on air that Minneapolis plays tough. And they really do. And I think that Rossville will have to bring their A game. And, Rossville recently has gotten pretty hot, which has been great to see. I think I mentioned 2 episodes ago, you just got to win 2 games. You're 500. You don't have a losing record. I mean, they did it. They won their last 2 games, and 4-4 is not the way that they wanted their season to go. But like I said, season's dead now. It's playoffs. It's trying to get that state championship. It's trying to repeat as state champs. If you're Rossville, you want to repeat. You want to go back and you want to win it again. So, I look for Rossville to win this game, but I think it'll be. I think Minneapolis will definitely bring a little bit of a fight to them.
So now moving into 3A action with Hayden being the only team we have in the county in 3A. Hayden plays a struggling Baldwin team, to say the least, that they should beat. Hayden should beat this Baldwin team. They got some good players over there, but I think Hayden just has better players. But looking ahead to next round, as we keep saying we can't look ahead, but we keep looking ahead. It'll be a tough matchup against Wellsville, and I would hope that I get sent to that game. If Hayden wins, I don't want to say Hayden's just already destined to win, but if this matchup does happen, I hope I get to watch it because it'll be epic. Because Wellsville's currently undefeated. Hayden only has 1 loss on the year. So yeah, but looking forward to this Hayden Baldwin game for sure.
Yeah, Hayden's only loss is to Holton from a couple of weeks ago. Tough game against Holton's ranked number 2 in the state, so he can't really take much out of that. Hayden knows what they need to correct, and they'll come in with a fresh mind, fresh space. But yeah, Baldwin City obviously struggling. I think Hayden will take care of business. I think that the last season of Joe Otting, the last season of these super seniors that you have, they're awesome. Been productive all year long. I think Hayden. I don't see any way Hayden can lose this game. I'm not gonna
Right
there, but because I am the king of jinxes, by the way, I am the king of jinxes. No one jinx anybody more than myself. I do it to my sports teams all the time. I do it in life. I'm the guy with the jinx. So knocked on wood for you, Hayden, but Topeka Hayden. But we got I think it's hard. It's so hard not to look forward to Wellsville because that game would be it'd be so awesome to go see the Wellsville Eagles and the Topeka Hayden Wildcats go at it. I think that would be potentially a game of the year. Wellsville has a running back named Nash Money, so that's also really cool. And I watched Wellsville play Silver Lake in the postseason last year, and that was a really fun game. But Topeka Hayden, I don't see a problem with this game against Baldwin City. Not to discredit Baldwin City in any way, shape, or form. I just think Hayden's that good, and I think Hayden can do that to 97% of the opponents that they play. So I think Hayden advances, and I think we will get that that awesome Wellsville Hayden matchup that I wish you and I both got sent to.
Yeah.
I wish I could be everywhere at once. I need a clone or something. But yeah.
I need those high-tech glasses where I can watch 5 games at once.
Yep, definitely need all of that, man.
If those even exist.
We need them. It's 2022. Get us some glasses, baby. It's 2022. Get us some cool glasses. Oh man, yeah, we got some great games coming up, and I know we're about to get to 6A. But the 2, 3, and 5A matchups that we have in this county, and there's so many home games too. There's so many home games. If you haven't been out to a game yet, now is the time. Playoff football.
Perfect time.
Yeah. I mean, there's just so many local home games this postseason, which is awesome for fans. It's not awesome for us because it's like it maddens you that you can't be at all these games. It hurts my soul, man. It's like I want to be at Rossville. I want to be at Silver Lake. I want to be at Hayden. I want to be at Seaman. I want to be at all these places. It's brutal.
No, it's gonna be fun. Our next county team is in 5A. First matchup is Shawnee Heights against Lansing. Shawnee Heights had no problem with Lansing earlier in the year. They won 46-23. I expect Shawnee Heights to do the same this week as they've only gotten better throughout the year. So looking for them to do that and bounce back after a loss last week. But future looks tougher as even if they do win this first game, they'll play Mill Valley most likely in the second round, who is as of right now, I believe the number one team in Class 5A. So Mill Valley's pretty tough. Shawnee Heights is a tough team. I don't want to count them out, but don't want to look ahead either because they got a decently tough matchup with Lansing this round.
Yeah, gotta win this game. You definitely have to win this game because coming off of a tough down to the wire loss to Leavenworth last week, they're gonna want to erase that as soon as possible. And I think a win over a team that you beat really comfortably back on September 9th in Lansing would be great for them. I know Mill Valley is Mill Valley. They are, I think they're number 2 in 5A because they lost one game and Mays stayed undefeated. But Mill Valley lost to 6A number 3, one of the Olathe schools. I can't think of the top of my head, but
North,
anyways, but Mill Valley is Mill Valley and potential state champion there. But yeah, just don't be one dimensional. Show off what you got. Throw the ball a little bit. Alan Bowman's going to run the ball. He's going to be just fine, and you just gotta have to throw out everything that you have. And especially with a team that's kind of familiar with you in Lansing just a little bit, but I look for Shawnee Heights to win this one, and I think that it will be a pretty comfortable win and probably play Mill Valley the next week. But as you said, not looking forward to the week after, but I think Mill Valley is definitely a real possibility for them.
Yeah. And then the next team, this is a very, very interesting team to talk about because Topeka West hasn't had, I think we can comfortably say, hasn't had a very successful season. But they've got something in front of them that might be doable. Like it's real. Topeka West plays Sumner round 1. Sumner had a better record, so they got the higher seed. But I think that's a winnable game. Obviously, we don't have any like common opponents between the two teams, so we don't know exactly how they're going to play against each other. But we saw what Trey Richardson did against Sumner, and with a guy like Malachi Berg in the backfield for Topeka West, who's maybe he's not quite the same kind of athlete as Trey Richardson, but still on that level, I think of really good athletes. So I think that's a winnable game. And then, yeah, I mean, we keep mentioning we don't want to look forward, but it's so tough not to, because then they'll play a Pittsburgh team that lost to Emporia earlier in the year, so that looks like a winnable game, or Washington team that Highland Park just not dismantled but beat last week. So yeah, I mean, we don't want to look ahead too much, but these might be the easiest games that Topeka West have played all year.
Yeah, I totally agree with you on that. I think that Topeka West has an extremely awesome opportunity in front of them if they can capitalize on it. I think the season went completely south, not the way anybody wanted it to go, but you have a top caliber, quarterback in the entire state who actually returned a kickoff touchdown last week. By the way, that was kind of cool. It was a pooch kick. Malachi Berg, I think he took it from the 24 or the 25, and he ran it all the way to the house. So that was kind of cool. One of their lone touchdowns in the 81-12 loss to Washburn Rural. But I think they have a real opportunity, like you were saying. I think this could be a game where Topeka West can win if Malachi Berg and that if the offensive line can keep Berg clean for just a couple of seconds. I think Topeka West can, 4th of July coming up here in Sumner. I think the fireworks will be real. I think there's going to be some big plays. Could be potentially a shootout. You never know. It could be something really cool. Could be something really fun for us to talk about on our next episode. It really could. But I hope they come. I hope they bring their A game. Hope they play their best football that they haven't played all year. I think that'd be super cool for them to get that win against Sumner.
Yeah, no, looking forward to it for sure. And then moving on to someone we mentioned, kind of mentioned with Trey Richardson, Highland Park. But before we get into it, Highland Park is a 3 seed in the playoffs. To see the season that they had this year has been great. with their history. Everybody knows their history. Whatever you want to say about it doesn't matter anymore because now they're a 3 seed in the playoffs. They had a winning season. They had a generational athlete in Trey Richardson, and people are excited about Highland Park football. And I think that's all you can ask for. The turnaround that they have had. Yes, they moved to a different league, but winning is winning. Winning is winning when you're watching the games, when you're playing in the games. If it doesn't matter if you beat the top team or if you beat the worst team, a win is a win. And I know their players are excited. And when you get momentum like that, anything can happen. So I'm looking forward to these games that they have playing next. But they're gonna play a winnable game, I think. I think one of the most unpredictable games in the playoffs against Emporia. As we said with Topeka West, there's not a lot of similar opponents with the two since Highland Park left the Centennial League, but I think winnable against Emporia. But then they'll have a tough matchup in the next round with whoever wins between Seaman or Blue Valley Southwest. But yeah, just wanted to shout out Highland Park because they've been fun to watch this year and they've been fun to follow. So, yeah, just wish them luck in the playoffs for sure.
I thought that was a stellar way that you described that. The most unpredictable game, I think, on the whole bracket itself. We don't know what's going to happen with this game because Emporia has won the last 13 meetings against Highland Park. And Highland Park has never looked this good. They haven't looked this good in a long time, if ever. Emporia is really starting to come along. They were hanging with Junction City last week, and Junction City is one of the top teams in Class 6A. But Emporia's had kind of not the best year in general. Topeka High beat this Emporia team as well. So, oh man, this game could be. It's a coin flip. I personally, I think Emporia has never seen a Trey Richardson before. And Adrian Drew Gregory as well, stud. K1 Johnson also stud. Their quarterback, K1 Johnson is one of the best in the city. Yeah, it's a very I don't know game. I'm not sure, but I know what Highland Park looks like, and I know Highland Park's a really, really talented team. So I think I'll pick Highland Park. But Emporia is playing really tough lately, and Emporia and Highland Park know each other. Emporia has obviously gotten the best of them overall. And Highland Park was in the Centennial League, so it'll be a game that will be really, really interesting to see. It'd be sweet to go to watch that one because it's just like I don't know who's going to win this, but I'm going to put my money on Highland Park just because I know what they have. Athletic wise, I think athlete wise, I think that Highland Park has the edge. I don't think Emporia has played a Trey Richardson all year. One of the state leaders in receptions, rushing yards, receiving yards, you name it. So, well, I guess not receptions because he averages.
Yeah.
He averages like 27 yards a catch, and they're usually all touchdowns. So, yeah, not receptions, but receiving yards and rushing yards. So I'm picking Highland Park to win this game, and I think it'll be a fun and tight one. I think it'll be a tight one for sure.
Yeah, and then finally to wrap up the 5A bracket, we have Seaman playing a Blue Valley Southwest team that is 3-5, but Seaman is very they know what Blue Valley Southwest is. I'll just say that, and I'll let Isaac take control out of that. But it's an unpredictable game, I think, for the Vikings. But the Blue Valley Southwest Timberwolves, is that correct?
I think
Timberwolves are familiar with Seaman.
Yeah, well, Seaman's played them the last 2 years in the playoffs. Blue Valley Southwest and Seaman, I think, met last year in the second round of playoffs because Seaman handed Emporia a really, really tough loss, like a big blowout loss in the first round. So Seaman won that game. In the first round, they had to play Blue Valley Southwest for a second year in a row. And it was, big plays by Blue Valley Southwest that won them the game. Zach Adkins, who was their number one receiver for Blue Valley Southwest last year, just exploded. He just exploded and had this game to remember, and it was a shootout. a lot of points, a lot of drama at stake because last year it was like, okay, these guys beat us the year before in playoffs, but now we're going to year 3 of these two meeting up again. It's gonna be like Blue Valley Southwest has beaten us 2 times in a row in the playoffs in this scenario at Seaman, because it was at Seaman last year and I think the year before as well. So that's a stressful one if you're if you're a Seaman Viking, because Blue Valley Southwest has had your number, and Blue Valley Southwest, their record hasn't been great the last 2 years, but they play in a one of the best leagues in the entire state. So I think records, like I said at the very beginning of our football portion of the episode, it's 0-0 at this point. Blue Valley Southwest is always going to bring it. I think Seaman knows that. Jared Swafford definitely knows that. And I think last year being Jared Swafford's first year as the head coach for the Seaman Vikings knows that. And I think that they're gonna have to be special. They're gonna have to have a really good game plan. And they're gonna have to surprise Blue Valley Southwest to break this curse against the Timberwolves.
Yeah, get the monkey off their back.
Yep.
So yeah, moving on to 6A now, where the first matchup is T-High, who we've said all year they can't catch a break, and they definitely didn't catch one here. They played Derby, Powerhouse Derby in round 1 of the playoffs. I don't want to predict a loss for Topeka High, but odds are Derby probably wins this game. But it's a young Topeka High team. They're still developing. They have a lot to learn from this absolute gauntlet of a season that they had. But congratulations for the one win they got, because that was not easy. And man, I just feel bad. I feel bad for Topeka High. I feel bad for them.
You know what's surprising is Topeka High and Care Paravel Latin also they share a lot of similarities. If you think about it, it's like these young kids that you have, and the schedule that they got this year and everything else. It's like you think about it, and the tough opponents, the brutal opponents. So, say for instance, Care Paravel played Chase County, Linden, Madison, Axtell, all those teams, and Topeka High is like the same thing from 6A, where you have a lot more schools to choose from. You have a lot of players and a lot of enrollment, a lot of students enrolled. And Derby is a brutal matchup. I think, to say the least. Is I think Derby could be the number 1 team in the state in some people's eyes. Derby took a loss to Manhattan earlier in the year, and they lost 52-51 to Avery Johnson's Mays Eagles. And by the way, Topeka High also played Mays.
Yeah, no, it's brutal. Played Manhattan too.
Manhattan, Mays, and Derby. Just nothing but top-ranked opponents.
Unfair.
They played that Mays team on a Saturday afternoon, week 1, and that's bad. That's brutal, but it's the last game for those seniors. So what are you going to do? What are you going to leave on the field? Derby is obviously beatable, but they lost to Mays and Manhattan. So I mean, you just got to do what you got to do. Make sure that you don't have any regrets when you leave the field for the last time, especially for those seniors, because I know once it's gone for some of those people, it's gone forever. So make sure that it's the hardest you've ever played. Make sure you get that last hit stick in. You got to get it all out on the field. And I think this enjoy the experience this week of practicing in preparation for a playoff week, and go do your best at Derby. It'll be a tough one and tough environment with a Notre Dame running back commit and lots of potential Division I players on the other side of the ball. So go do your best and play. Play like it's your last game, and I don't think you'll have any regrets.
Yeah, no, go make history. Go make history for Topeka High. But yeah, so last matchup of the county is Washburn Rural playing Dodge City, where Washburn Rural should win this game. But Dodge City's no slouch. They played Junction City tough at the beginning of the year, and obviously Junction City beat Washburn Rural. So
yeah,
I think Rural's more talented. I think Rural should win this game, but I do not think Rural should look ahead at all, because if they catch themselves lacking, they might be down, similar to what we saw in the Junction City game, where they just got down and couldn't really climb out of that hole. So Rural needs to put them on early, and something they've struggled with, not necessarily in these last 3 games, but throughout the season, is starting hot and they need to start hot against this team, or this team's going to jump on them. But yeah, I just said they shouldn't look ahead, but looking ahead, they would play what I expect to be Garden City going forward.
Yeah, and this team that Washburn Rules playing hasn't won a game against a team with a winning record all year, which works out in Washburn Rules' favor. But yeah, Washburn Rules been highly favored um, the last few games, and I think that has helped them in a way establish their rhythm, find the continuity again after taking a couple losses. Judge City, Manhattan to really get the edge back. We've seen Deweese and McKintis Adams and Ty Weber and Titan Osborne and you name it, just really come alive these last 3 games. They put up 81 points last week, which is something that was like that would have been unheard of a few weeks ago, But now Washburn Rural is really, really there. They could carry that momentum, 81-point momentum over next week. At least they don't have to travel the 4 hours or whatever it is. They get to host it, which is awesome for them. But I expect Washburn Rural to be to come out big and to win this one by a pretty large margin. But you can't take this team softly, as you mentioned. They played tough earlier on in the year. But this team also hasn't beat anybody with a winning record, so I think Washburn Rural definitely has that in their favor. But I expect the Junior Blues to have a big night, and I expect them to move on to the next round to play a potentially pretty tough opponent in the next round.
Yeah. So yeah, that's all we got for the preview of round 1 of the playoffs. And then congratulations to all the volleyball teams that have made it to the state tournament, and looking forward to break that all down next week. But yeah, good luck to all these playoff teams. I don't know about Isaac, but I convinced myself as we talked about these that I will be making a bracket 100%, and I will be sharing it because why not? I want everyone to see what I think, and I want everyone to trash me if I'm wrong, but just know that if I'm right, I will never let anybody hear the end of it.
Oh, well, here, how about this? For our next episode. Well, how about this? We'll leave this in the description. You leave a comment. How about the actually erase that? If we get 5 likes on this video, Caleb, shall we release our brackets to the internet? All we need is 5 likes.
Yes.
To release our brackets.
5 likes. Yes, if we get 5 likes, we will release our brackets on Twitter, I believe. I believe Twitter's both of our
We can do Twitter. We can do that.
ones, but yeah, I don't know if we can,
or we can have it released on the website. Yeah.
Convince Rick to have it put on the website. If we can do that, yeah, we'll get it on the website. We'll get it on Twitter. We'll get it everywhere. I want everyone to see these, but we have to get 5 likes. Have to get 5 likes.
5. That's the number. This number is 5.
Got to do it. Got to do
Get
it.
it done. Get it done. Top Sports News Nation. TSN Nation.
TSN Nation.
Even though we're a county. We're a county.
TSN County.
Our worldwide fan base.
Everyone loves hearing about Shawnee County sports.
Yes, some person in free ed New York City or Boston or Austin, Texas.
Yes, I actually is that I am actually curious. I am actually curious. So if you're watching this and you for some reason are watching this and you don't live in the state of Kansas, please let us know, because I want to know how far our audience reaches and why you're watching this. No, if I love that you're watching this, if you're watching this, but just want to know why.
Why do you like us?
Yeah. What do we have to offer?
Yeah, what do we have to offer, honestly? Insight, I guess, but
Oh man. Analytics. I don't know. Analyzation.
Analyzing the analyzation. Yeah. That's us. We're number 1. Let's get out of here.
We'll be back next week with more playoff football talk and more results from volleyball and cross country and soccer. So looking forward to it. Like and subscribe. Click the bell so you don't miss next episode. So yeah, we'll see you next week.